Good evening everyone and welcome along to live coverage of round 9 of the Inside Line Racing League season here on Xbox One. I'm Ginger Andy and I'm joined in the commentary box by James. James, heavy rain, intermediate tyres, what a mix to start this qualifying section.
Absolutely, you're right. Today we're in the hills, ladies and gentlemen, the Austrian Grand Prix, and I don't think, well, in terms of enjoyment, I think this is one of the more fun circuits the drivers come to in the entire season. A very small circuit, just 10 corners I think, around here, and it's more like a go-kart track to be honest. It's just throw the car in and hope for the best, and many of these corners it will suit the brave, it will suit the better drivers on their left foot, and it's going to be interesting to see what they can do in these wet conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. OMG, Joe's put the first time on the board, a 1 minute 12.2 on fastest time, I should say, on the board, 4/10 quicker than anyone else. But as I say that, Veloci Surprise pumps in a new quickest lap of the session, a 1 minute 12.0. As I'm watching LCR Leopard, is he pitting? No, I think he's about to start a flying lap. So let's keep an eye on Leopard, who has been a reserve for much of the season, hasn't he? I think he's a reserve, so he's been coming in. And now, what can Leopard do? Currently with no time on the board, P13 of course, in this session of 14 now as the times continue to tumble in. Veloci Surprise, he is the World Championship leader. We might as well run through those standings quickly. 170 points he has on the board as Joe retakes top spot by 2,000ths of a second, which is why I presume you were giving a huge gasp there of this.
Absolutely right, I was.
Well, there you go then. That explains that one. So, yep, top 170 points for Veloci Surprise. He's 47 points clear of OMGH Joe in the standings. There might be 2,000s on them, separating them on the track, but there's 47 points separating them in the standings. VSR Simon is third with 86 points. Fourth in the standings is Veloci Limitless with 75. TR Murso is fifth, and he's been enjoying a run of form, a real rich run of form. A third and a fourth place in the last few races. Meanwhile, his teammate in the other half, VSR Holland, behind him now in the championship in sixth. He's had 2 consecutive non-scores after really outshining his teammate in the opening part of the season, wasn't he, James? But all of a sudden, Morso's turned up the pace and looked really solid, hasn't he?
Absolutely right, he has, and we've seen so many times this season that Haas cars are a really good team to be in almost. They've shown really good pace at times. It's just, we said last week in the post-race interviews, we said they needed that consistency. They needed the both of them up there because that would make one hell of a showing for one of these races. A few other things are just seemingly points upon. Snazzy evening in fourth, ahead of Langman by 1,000th of a second. You'll tend to see that around Austria. It's not too discommon, I would like to say. It happens quite a lot around here. It's a very short circuit. But even better news, Limitless and Reynolds have got the exact same time. But because Limitless set his at the very start of the session, he gets the place there. Also, you just see, I think, oh no, that's just slightly changed. But yeah, Martin goes into 5th place.
Yep, Martin's got up into P5. I think the Red Bull guys are really fired up for this one this weekend. Martin has had a really sloppy season by his standards, having really, arguably, should have won the championship last year with the amount of bad luck that he had. It wasn't to be the case, and Danny M7 mopped up with the driver's title. So, I mean, it's been a bit of a difficult time for Martin and ILR in general. Really frustrating. Things just not going his way. Well, he said on Twitter earlier on today, let's put it all behind us, let's go for it, let's push. This is why I made the change to ILR. It's time to show what I can do, and Martin goes 5th quick. As we watch Veloci Limitless about to start a lap here in Austria. Now, this is the shortest circuit on the Formula 1 calendar in terms of lap time. It's only got 10 corners, the fewest number of corners as well. And it's a track I really enjoy, James. It's one where overtaking is it's common, isn't it? Up the hill into turn 3 and down towards turn 4 and possibly even into turn 1 you can make moves, can't you?
Absolutely. It's one of those tracks which now has 3 DRS zones. So I mean, the overtaking opportunities are going to keep on arising. It's just some aspects of this track, especially the infield section, the middle sector, you will be going a bit Braveheart if you're going to get a move done through there. You've got to be really giving a lot of trust in the guys around you. And usually that can make or break a move. You know, if you get a good bit of momentum through the middle sector, it can set you up. Because of the course of the lap, it's very much, because of the course of the lap, how short it is, you really need to size your moves up well in advance, maybe 2 laps in advance, just thinking, okay, right, if I just do these different lines for the next couple of laps or so, I may be able to get a move done, for example. And the wet's going to be a lot more difficult for these guys, as as it usually is in the wet, but that's not going to on with the racing at all. It should still be a pretty good race in terms of overtaking.
Yep, absolutely. Veloci Limitless goes P9 there with a 112.608. So not setting the timing screens alight. He has been a driver, James, that has complained a lot about his qualifying form. He's been trying to lift the bar in qualifying. He's not been able to do it this season. It has been his Achilles heel, and he will feel that has cost him a couple of times a chance at challenging for the race win. He feels he's there or thereabouts, maybe just a fraction slower at times in race trim than the other guys. But I mean, if he was there on the front row with the likes of Surprise, with the likes of Simon, there's every possibility in a race trim. In race trim, he could be the man to take a result, but he needs to qualify better than down in P8 or P9, like it's been so often this season. Both Red Bulls have struggled for that pace. TRL Martin though, P5 at the moment. That's a reasonable effort from him. Can Limitless go any better than that as we watch him now climbing up through the gears and down towards the final couple of corners of turns 9 and 10, throwing the car in there with confidence that back end will be wanting to slide as he goes over the curves on the exit. They can be often be very damp. Those curves are very slippery in the wet conditions. They hold a lot of water as Limitless comes across the line and does improve to P7, up 2 places. He found a full 3/10 there, James, but 3/10, you'd expect it to be a lot in this track, but it only was enough to move him up 2 places, and you'll have to find a lot more time than that, won't you?
Yeah, he will do. I think usually, I mean, in the wet conditions, it's a case of just keep doing laps because the track will always improve, especially if the conditions stay as they are. So actually, him constantly doing laps and putting enough fuel in that car means that he can just keep going round and hopefully improving his time. And that's what I'm sure a lot of people are doing. That's why you haven't seen as many guys in the pits as what we usually do. Usually we're waiting for someone to come out and, you know, it's almost like the Baku qualifying session where the track constantly improved and eventually you may find yourself with a surprise pole sitter. You may get that round here, but it's nice to see not everyone's in the pits compared to, say, Spain, for example, or Bahrain, where we have to wait until the final moments of qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's our Simon there crossing the line. That 1 minute 12.0. I totally agree with what you're saying, James. You want to see cars out there doing laps, and as we saw so often recently in ILR with the difference in strategies that this game's bring, the 3-tyre compounds, at times that softest option quite simply isn't viable if you want to do a one-stop race. It just doesn't work out, and that is of course why we've seen so many one-lap sessions basically back to the old days of Formula 1, and well, when you get intermediate conditions, that throws it completely out the window. As you say, you want to be out there on the track for the best of the conditions, and that usually means fueling it up and ensuring that you're out there for as long as possible. But Simon looks like he's backed out of this one. Let's have a look at OMGH Joe and Veloci Surprise. They're close to each other on the racetrack. Currently 3/10. Veloci Surprise is on pole by with 6 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the section. Now that is an enormous margin at a circuit like this. So incredible qualifying effort so far from Veloci Surprise. So can OMGH Joe, who we know, back end sliding there for the Ferrari as he was braking down into turn 4. A really tricky braking zone, that one. Downhill, short apex, always running wide, struggling for grip on the exit through there. But Joe pushing on. What's his middle sector looking like? Is he going any quicker? I'm not too sure. The graphic is showing us the first sector time there, I think, that the game does quite often. OMGH Joe then heading down towards turns 9 and 10. Can he do anything about Veloci Surprise? His Limitless finally rises up into P3, so is Limitless finally finding that qualifying pace he needs. It might be 4 tenths from the front row or from pole, but it's a lot better. Joe, poor lap from him. What about Surprise? He's right behind him on the road. He is just a fraction slower than his previous best, and he stays on top. The track conditions, Joe, not seemingly worsening or getting any better. It's staying as it is, as Simon's on a lap.
Yeah, it's gonna be that kind of way. I think it's just a case of how much fuel you're using. That's how you're gaining pace around here. It's just constantly the usage of the fuel. And someone like Limitless, for example, who's found something like 7/10 from his first run from what we saw earlier on in the session. So he's made up massive gains, but that may not be enough because Reynolds has got himself into P3 in the Sauber. What a lap then from him. He's moved himself into 3rd place, just ahead of Veloci Limitless. A great lap from the Sauber, who we don't often see in even the top 5. So to see him in the top 3 is a pretty stellar effort.
Yeah, it's a stellar effort, but you know, cast your mind back, James. The wet section in Baku, he was on the front row,
yes,
wasn't he?
Yeah.
So his AVR Reynolds loves a soaking wet racetrack, and he's showing it there with a superb effort to pop up into P3. So Reynolds up into P3, Limitless back down to P4, but surely Limitless will be hoping that if he can get ahead of Reynolds and possibly Joe, because so many times this season he's felt parked up behind Joe in the races and it's compromised his races, hasn't it? So we'll see how it goes there. But TRL Martin, is he coming in? Yes, he is. He's already done a lap. So Martin peels into the pits. And a little bit of a lull in the action between the top guys. Where's Joe? Let's have a look at him. Is he on a quick lap? He's 300ths up on his previous best, but he'll need to go some to beat Surprise, won't he?
Yeah, Joe did improve on his lap time. He was just a tad off, actually. He was a 1:11.9. He's now dropped that to a 1:11.8, so he's only just improved. That corner, that turn 4, it's a really horrible corner, so off camber, and that's probably why he's struggling for the traction coming out on the exit through there. It's not a very nice corner at all, and then you've got this long swooping left-hander, and it's just to see what he can do on the end of his lap. He's got a bit of traffic, so he may get slightly put off by that. But we know Joe to be a very good qualifier, but he does struggle at the start of races.
Yep, he sure does. So let's see what Joe does. It's usually he struggles in those dry conditions with the tyre temperatures. I'll tell you what, if it ends up being a wet race, that could favour him really well. It worked out for him last week in another week, so let's see how it goes as Joe crosses the line and gets a tad closer to Veloci Surprise. He's chiselling away at that gap, isn't he? Now only a tenth of a second to Veloci Surprise, exactly 1/10 of a second. So has he got anything else in his locker? Surprises on an outlap. Reynolds, Limitless in the pits. Outlap for Simon. Langman also on an outlap. So let's shuffle our way back down. See if we can pick someone else out there as Joe. She's just gone aquaplaning off at the sea down at turn 3. Not an ideal thing to be doing. Record going slowly. So is Joe on another quick lap? Let's stick with him for now. He's probably going to run out of ERS actually, but we'll just hold on. See if he can improve any more. On this current lap, he's got a car in front of him, and that will be one of the Mercedes, is it, of Snazzy Evening. And Snazzy himself could be on a quick lap, so he won't be jumping out the way anytime soon. Joe, now he's 600s down now in his current best, so we need to be a mindful final sector to do anything. So let's go away from him. Surprise about to start a flying lap. The top guys all on outlaps at the moment. What about Langman? He's on an outlap too. Snazzy Evening, let's pick up him then. Down the final corner and towards the line. 7th at the moment. Joined last week for the first time. Impressive time trial pace. Impressive race and qualifying here as well. A 1:12.0. We know he's quick. We've seen his time trial pace. I was actually having a look at a few of his time trial lap times before I came into this qualifying session, and he's running up to the bell, and Limitless will need to pull something special out the back now if he wants to end these qualifying woes, because he's now down to P5, Joe.
Absolutely, it's on a lap, I think, as we ride, if you want to ride on board with him. I need to turn 1, flying the car through there. You want to be touching that exit curb on the outside. Got that slight sausage curve, the big old right-hand, left-hand part of the circuit. It's huge out there. Turn 2 closely follows. Simon does move himself into P3. Limitless on the brakes towards turn 3. And this is another corner which traction is so appalling on the exit through there, in the wet and in the dry. Turn 4 closely becomes a cropper, and it's one of the better opportunities to make your moves. It's a wide entry and a very, very narrow apex as well. You don't really want to be diving moves into there, but you will see a fair bit of wheel banging in the race, I'm sure. Through turn 5, the king of turn 5, and turn 6, which follows as well. This long left-hand corner again. You don't want to be getting the car too wide. Those curbs are horrid on the exit there. Turn 8, 7, and 8 closely follow. And once again, just seemingly negotiating that very, very well. I've seen big crashes in junior formula around this circuit, especially that part of the track in the past. Into turn 9 and 10 we go again. And can Limitless seemingly improve. He doesn't take a lot of curb on the inside of the final quarter. He has to run up to the line. Will it be good enough for Paul? Not quite. He doesn't even improve. He stays P6 for now.
Yeah, I feel half second down, and a few of them retiring. Maybe the track conditions have worsened all of a sudden. EVR Reynolds is in the final corner. If he isn't improving by much and is down by a lot, well, give us a further indication. A 1:12.3, so he's 3/10 down on his previous best. Simon starts another lap. Joe is out there and in traffic behind VSR Holland on an outlap though. To watch him surprise, he's 400s down on his best through sector 1. And the fact that Reynolds is retired and not gone for another lap might suggest that this track is worsening out there. So let's see what these guys can do. Limitless is down to 6th place now. So not going well at all for him now. Simon up into 3rd place. So here comes Veloci Surprise round the final corner, and that looks a lot wetter out there. Surely no improvement for him. He heads across the line until we're 1:11.9, and everyone appears to be dropping in pace. Limitless 2/10 down for the first 2 sectors, and I think that will be that. We'll go to Martin in a moment, but I think the track is worsening. The rain is getting harder and it's becoming a little bit more difficult to pump these ultimate lap times in. Limitless round the final corner. A bit of an anti-climax to the second crossing the line, and it's a really poor lap time, but hey, what can you do when the track conditions get worse? Martin 3 seconds down on his current best. He's not pushing, so let's go on board with the OMG at Joe, but I think his attempts to try and get pole position are going to be different feeble ones, aren't they, James?
Yeah, they are. These conditions are definitely worse. The rain is absolutely teeming down on this Austrian racetrack, and I don't think that Joe's going to be improving on this time. Definitely now look at that bite of oversteer coming out of turn 7, I believe that was, and that's so crucial that he managed to keep that on the road. I think he's definitely backed out of his lap. He will be on the front row, albeit in second place, and once again seeing the rear, well, sorry, he's looking ahead at the rear view mirrors of Veloce Surprise.
Yeah, well, Veloce Surprise, once again, the World Championship leader on pole position, and I have to say, he looked in great form throughout that session, always on top from the moment the session began. Everyone else always seemed to have to build their way up to finding a lap time even close to his, and wow, what an absolutely brilliant effort that was from Veloce Surprise. You could argue dominant. It might only have been by a tenth of a second, but he was on top from basically the start of the section and looked almost untroubled at times. He's on pole position for Williams Racing. In second position, it's OMG, it's Joe, who keeps up that fine form in qualifying trim. VSR Simon, he'll start from third. He's 2 tenths away from pole position. EVR Reynolds again showing that incredible pace he has in the damp conditions. Snazzy Evening is fifth. The qualifying woes continues for Veloce Limitless in P6. Langman P7. 8th for VSR Murso, a bit of a disappointment for Haas. 9th for Martin. The other Red Bull struggling as well. And Mike Marshmallow rounds out the top 10. So again, James, the Red Bull struggles in qualifying. They don't seem to be going anywhere, do they?
Not really, and at the Red Bull Ring it's a place where maybe they want to be getting a good result. Technically a home Grand Prix for Red Bull, but the track conditions are dry, and we all know what happened in the dry real-life Grand Prix. Of course, Red Bull did win it, so there is the odd chance, but they're going to have a very, very good start, or even a very good strategy. The one thing I will point out is throughout this week, all I've been seeing is the differences in setups from everyone. There is a chance of a higher downforce setup, I believe, run by maybe the Red Bulls. I feel like they may be a little bit more on the downforce. This is from what I've been hearing. They do seem a little bit slower, according to other drivers, in a straight line, but that could, you know, that could pay dividends on maybe even better tyre wear, perhaps. Other things are the ballast as well. A lot of people have been deliberating which is the best ballast to be running, which will get you the better qualifying time, and from what I saw in the chat, Surprise seemingly went for the qualifying option on the ballast, so that would suggest perhaps he may not have the best race pace here. There's so many variables in this race, but let's just see what happens.
Yeah, very good point, well made there, James, about the ballast. It's something that when I was speaking to the guys at the eSports event, they spoke about it so much, didn't they? Like, especially Limitless, he was quite vocal about it, about how in qualifying everyone runs this high ballast and they can get away with it because it's a new lobby. That isn't the case online. Quite simply, of course, it's park firming rules, so it's all about compensating. And if Surprise is gone with that higher ballast, he will have a really oversteery car at the start of the race. It might lead to increased tyre wear, and it could be a bit of a struggle. And as you say, race pace might be an issue, and it's a beautiful day here in Austria. The clouds have broken from what was a damp affair yesterday, and that means everyone, of course, as we've said, can choose their own tyres. And look at the mixture of tyre choices we have throughout that field, and that is almost a full-on third split, like a split right down the middle, 33% on every tyre. What have we got? 2 on ultra soft, 3, 4, 5, 6 on ultra softs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6, no, oh, that's so close. And we've got the majority on super softs, and we've got 4 guys on softs. So 8 on ultras, 4 guys on softs, and everyone else, sorry, 6 on ultras, 4 on softs, and 8 on super softs. So quite a mixture there. And it's Veloce Surprise on ultras. It's OMG, it's Joe on ultras. Yes, our Simon, he's gone for the supers. We are Reynolds Ultra Soft. Snazzy Evening Super Soft, 6th place. Veloce Limitless on the Ultra. Langman also on the Ultra. ESR Morsel, the first of the soft runners. Let's see how that goes for him. Martin Ultra Soft. Holland Super Soft. Leopard Soft. And as you can see, the rest of the guys, a mixture there between Super Soft, Ultra Soft, and Soft. And boy, we have got a real mixture of tyre compounds. And this makes for an interesting race, interesting strategy. And James, I think we're in for a cracker.
We absolutely are, with all these different strategies in the air. Let's just see who will nail the strategy, but even more so, who will nail the start. There's only, you know, the top two on those ultra soft tyres. They will get good launches on those softer compounds, but watch in the mid-pack. There could be a few surprises thrown up on there, I am sure.
Yep, well, the final car moving into position, that's Overkill's at the back there on the soft compound tyre. Veloci Surprise starts from Paul. He's got a 47-point lead over the man alongside him in the front row. OMG, it's Joe. The 5 red lights are coming on here in Austria. It's round 9 of the championship, and we are racing in the Styrian mountains. Lights out, and away we go. Veloci Surprise leads on the run down to turn 1. It's a good start from Joe. He nearly pulls alongside, but Surprise breaks later and holds his lead. Now, running up the hill, it's a drag race. Can OMG's Joe do anything about that volumes ahead? It's still as you were between the top 3 cars. Surprise, Joe and Simon all huddling up with the rest of the field in the background in a turn 3. Simon has a little bit of look. There's slight contact there between Simon and Joe, and side by side they go down the hill towards turn 4. It's Snazzy Evening and ILR Reynolds picking up the toe as well. We're nearly 4 wide on the brakes in there. And Simon, has he finally got the move done? Yes, he has. He squeezes Joe out, and Joe now loses out massively. Through goes Snazzy Evening, up into P3, and down to P4 goes Joe. Great start to the race from Simon. Not so for Joe though. And Simon up to P2, goes down to P4.
That's exactly the start I did not expect. I said those front two would pull away at the start, but Joe's trying to come back at Snazzy Evening, then into towards turn 9. Down the inside goes the Ferrari. He's got the move done on the Mercedes. He's got past Snazzy Evening there. It's been a hectic start. No man, look for a move on Reynolds in the Sauber. Can't quite get that move done into the final corner. It's all kicking off right away in this Austrian Grand Prix. Joe's starting to close up to Simon now, immediately on the attack.
Yeah, the Red Bulls have got a good start. No places made up at the start from Martin, and Veloci Limitless is down one. He's behind Langman now. It's Reynolds up ahead of this. Goes side by side with Snazzy Evening on the brakes. Is he going to make a move as we watch Limitless on board? Diving up the inside of Langman. Into turn 3. The running wheels. The prancing horse versus the charging bull. And the bull has got the upper hand here. Limitless back here and up into P6. As Snazzy Evening and ILR Reynolds debate P4 and P5. In fact, Joe it was making a move back on Snazzy, I think. As Snazzy now dropped to 5th. Behind ILR Reynolds. Incredible action going on behind the leader, Veloci Surprise, who already has opened out a lead of 1.1 seconds and has broken the DRS detection already. What a start to the race from him. But VSR Simon, we know how quick he is in race trim. He's probably the closest match to Veloci Surprise in race trim, so I wouldn't be surprised if he can close that gap in as Burn Me Surprises Ultras start to wear out. Because remember, Simon is on this super soft, so Veloci Surprise popped in a new fastest lap in the Grand Prix, 1 minute 6.969, as we keep our eye on the battle for P2. Simon versus Joe. If Joe can make a move here, that would really help out Veloci Surprise. And the fact that Joe is on the softer compound, it should be easy for him. He goes side by side with VSR Simon on the brakes into turn 3. He's up the inside and he muscles his way back through, getting revenge from that earlier move. And now Simon has got to worry about Reynolds, who's having a storming start to this Grand Prix. Right on the back of the McLaren. Is he going to have a look up the inside? He thinks about it and then thinks better of it. And Simon and Joe will go to E2. Great action behind the leader here, James. Don't know where to look.
Absolutely, it's chaotic. Right up behind Surprise is now 2 seconds in front, but if Simon could just keep these tyres going for a longer distance, of course you know he's going to be pitting a lot later than Veloci Surprise, which means he just needs to keep within an undercut range. He's got a really good chance in this Grand Prix, stacked right up behind that Ferrari, but Reynolds is holding his own there in P4. Snazzy Evening doing a good job as well in P5. It's all just really close and chaotic stuff. Martin into P8 as well. He's had it's a mediocre start from Martin, but he hasn't got damage, which could be more than can be said for his efforts in the French Grand Prix.
Yeah, well, Martin will be relieved about that, but when you start that far down, it really is a major risk getting damages. Martin found out in that race. So as they all head up into turn 3, Veloci Surprise quickly making this a one-horse race, but remember, Simon does, of course, have the super soft tyre, as does Snazzy Evening, so it ain't done and dusted yet. They might have a 2.1 second lead in 4 laps, but this battle for P2 is brilliant, and Joe doing what he does in every race this season, holding everyone up during the Grand Prix. Those rear tyre temperatures, how are they feeling, Joe, mate? How are they coping? Are they in the window? Because that's something that he has been struggling with, and can he do it? because Simon is right behind him on those super soft tyres, and if Joe can't break away from Simon on super soft, he could have a problem. But Simon right up behind him, and I think it's really difficult though to break the DRS on a track like this with those long straights, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's really difficult because as soon as you get one burst of DRS, you have a second burst of DRS, and as soon as you have that second DRS zone, you have your third DRS zone. So it just comes up on you so quickly. You have really no time to react, to even think about where you're going to position your car in that sense. So you've just, like I said in qualifying, you've got to think about it maybe a lap or two beforehand just to be able to get that move done. Simon is once again closing on the back of Joe, but just cannot find the room to get the move on the inside. It's a really tight apex at turn 3, and you would not expect the car to be going for a move there. But turn 4, look at this run he's got on GSJ. The Ferrari, will he defend the inside line? He does cover the inside line off, and Simon's down the inside into turn 4. He's got the move done, has he? Because the Ferrari's coming right back at him again through turn 5 and turn 6 that follows, and he stays behind the Ferrari. What a great effort that was from Simon, and he's down the inside into turn 6, side by side, and he's got the move done, and will Reynolds follow him through? Looks like he will. He's banging Joe out of the way, and the Sauber finds himself into P3. Snazzy Evenings around the outside of Joe, who's losing a position, hand over fist, and he's made contact! No! They're out of the Austrian Grand Prix. Crazy scenes in Austria. The championship runner-up is out of the Austrian Grand Prix.
Oh, what an absolute mess. It was so exciting. It was great to watch up until that moment when it ends in grief. Into the wall, out of the race goes the Ferrari. The man in second in the championship, OMG, it's Joe. Into the pits though has come Snazzy Evening for a brand new front wing. And what tyre has he put on? A set of softs, presumably to try and get to the end. But that is a shame. It ruined what was a fantastic battle. But Joe, perhaps again, being swallowed up by a number of cars with struggling tyre temperatures. I mean, first of all, you have to say, Simon, great move. He muscled his way through on Joe eventually, and of course that allowed Reynolds to get involved, and then Snazzy Evening as well, and that's where it all went wrong. So out of the Grand Prix go those guys, which is a shame because it was exciting action to watch between Joe and Snazzy. Snazzy's still in it, but really he's going to be struggling to do much from there as we watch Simon in P2, 3.7 now, by Veloci Surprise, with Reynolds behind him and Limitless now up into P4 as Surprise picks up a 3-second time penalty. So Simon, advantage to you, my friend. Oh, interesting. So Surprise, the championship leader, with Joe is their closest rival, 47 points back out of the race. Perhaps a little lapse of concentration, and now he finds himself with a 3-second time penalty as Dralik also picks one up. So yeah, interesting things beginning to happen there. So Simon, surely that's advantage him in this Grand Prix. He's basically level with Surprise in terms of gap now. The gap at 2.9 with Surprise with the penalty. So a real chance here for Simon to make this work and pick up what would be, I think, his second win of the season.
Yeah, I think that actually may have been the first penalty we've seen all race. I'm not sure, but I think that could have been the first penalty of this entire Grand Prix, which is very, very unlike Surprise, to be honest. It's not often you see him crop up with a penalty, and very few laps that we're into this Grand Prix, only 7 laps in, he's already found himself with a 3-second time penalty. Maybe then it's the consistency. If you're consistent, if you're smooth in your inputs, then actually you may get a really good result here, because penalties do become a cropper. It's a lot worse than, say, Monaco, for example, to get a penalty. So it's definitely one to watch, those penalties, and that could ultimately even decide this Grand Prix. Who knows? We've still got a long way to go.
It sure could. As Thierry Martin now is the latest man to pick up a time penalty. He's 6 tenths behind Langman, looking quite close. We'll go to Limitless actually in a moment. He's only 3 tenths behind EVR Reynolds and having a look, but first of all, let's keep a look at Leopard as he steams up the inside of VSR Holland, and on the brakes, the Toro Rosso driver is through, and he is on the soft compound tyre, by the way. So what a start to the race has been for LCR Leopard, a little bit under the radar him, and he's just gone diving up the inside. He's licked the start, he's sent it, and he's made his way up into P7 ahead of the Haas, and the Haas cars are still leading by 3 points in the championship, and they're 8th and 9th stuck there a light blue on the racetrack. If it stays like this, there will only be 1 point between them in the championship. So the Haas cars once again running up to the billing of being so close to the match, but great move from Leopard. Let's have a look at Veloci Limitless. How's he getting on? Making real progress, and now onto the back of EVR Reynolds. If we have a look at the state of those other soft tyres on that Red Bull, we don't want to be seeing that though. We want to see the onboard of him as he attacks the back of Adrian Reynolds climbing up the hill towards turn 2, that little kick, which is it. Actually called turn 2 since 2017. It previously wasn't recognised by the FIA as a corner. It now has been. As Martin, looks like he's made a move behind us on Langman. So both Red Bulls now starting to make their moves. James, poor qualifying, but race trim showing that they have got the pace. But remember, TRL Martin does have a time penalty. That's not what they want to have. But Limitless looking really racing, and pretty soon going to be going past the Reynolds, I think.
Yeah, it's coming, isn't it? I mean, it's no different on the tyres though. So is this a big overtake in context of this Grand Prix, because they're on the same strategy? So nothing in that sense that's going to be splitting these two. What's going on?
Yeah, sorry, I just accidentally lost. Oh, Reynolds 3-second time penalty. I accidentally lost the HUD there. Not quite first name, last name stuff, but I lost all the graphics on the screen. As Limitless has a look up the back of Adrian Reynolds in the turn 1. Reynolds under a lot of pressure now, picking up that time penalty. You can see the pressure's getting to him as Langman has come into the pits, getting rid of the soft compound tyre already. So I presume that might have explained the yellow flag somewhere. So here up the inside goes Veloci, Limitless, and the Red Bull driver is through, but Reynolds is wise to that. He's going to come back on the cutback. They're going to go side by side, sweeping down the hill towards turn 4. A tricky downhill bookings on this. As James mentioned in qualifying, you often get wheel banging down here. Are we going to get it? We're very close to getting it, but we're not. And Limitless has got that move done. He made an attempt at turn 3. He completed it for sure down into turn 4, and that is that. He was wise to the Reynolds cutback, defended him off, and Limitless now up into P3. Now, can he go any further in this race up to the field, or is that his limit? Let's see how much pace Veloci Limitless has got. He is limitless after all, he shouldn't have a limit, so let's see how it goes for him. So let's drop back to another battle. VSR Holland, I think, is having a battle with Leopard. Well, he's just lost that position, so let's go to Melanie, in fact, who's in a bit of a midfield scrap, tucked up behind the back of VSR Mursel, who seemingly today, the Haas cars don't seem to have quite up the pace that they've had in recent weeks, although Mursel is on the soft compound tyre, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And Melanie is on the ultra soft tyre, so he will have the advantage here, you would think, in towards turn 3, and he thinks about it and thinks better of it into there. But in fact, Melanie as well, these guys, all of them, have had really solid seasons, you have to say. Melanie has shown his worth at a few Grand Prix this year, and is definitely one that I didn't expect to be really fighting for big points. Sometimes he really has come up big top trumps. He's come up with some big points for Sauber this season, as much as Reynolds has as well. And I was really wincing when I saw Reynolds and Limitless going wheel banging down towards turn 4, because we all remember the Spanish Grand Prix.
Race as Veloci Limitless, and I think a lot of drivers get really frustrated when cars battle when they're a pit stop behind, but Reynolds, he's always been a fighter and always will remain a fighter. But at the moment, let's keep an eye on his teammate Melanie as we go across the line, and I think TRL Martin and Veloci's Prix have come into the pits. So they've finally made their pit stop, so keep an eye on Veloci's Prix to see when he comes out in the traffic, but for now, we want to keep an eye on Melanie versus Mursel. Is it going to be a move as they go up the hill? I don't think so. I'm about to go to Veloci's Prize, see what his traffic situation is, and it's bad. It's really bad. He's come out in P11 here, and look at the number of cars he's got to negotiate in front of him, James. Wow. York, Mike Marshall, Kralix, Melanie, Mursel, all in relatively close proximity to Veloci's Prize, and this will give Simon a real opportunity to maximise this super soft stint, and it's going to hurt for Surprise at the start of this, and what a chance for Simon here.
Absolutely it is, but I've just had a look further down the field, and actually the undercut seems to have worked an absolute treat for the Ferrari of Langman. He's got some 2 seconds ahead of the Red Bull of Martin. Let's not forget he was behind him only a couple of laps ago, but the undercut seemed to be quite powerful around here. You're right though, Surprise is going to have to negotiate a lot of traffic, and oh my goodness me, they're banging wheels almost through turn 9. You do not want to be getting into contact with the race leader. Ask Max Verstappen and Esteban Ocon from Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a bit of a disaster for the Sauber team there, where one of them picked up a 3-second time penalty, one of them picked up a 5-second time penalty, as Gauche also picks one up. I think I've seen 2 or 3 cars now speeding it coming into the pits. It's not an easy pit lane. You try to attack it, and if you attack it too much,
Langman's right behind.
Langman.
Yeah.
Picks up a 3-second time penalty, and he's now so in a battle, is he? Oh, look at this, Langman and Reynolds side by side, and this is for what would be a net P4, I believe, so this is quite the battle to watch. And meanwhile, Hayden Overkill are battling just in front of that, so this could be quite meaty as they go racing down the hill towards turn 4. Langman just ahead at the moment of the Ferrari powered server, and he stays ahead for now, but this is incredible. Oh, he is ahead, sorry, he's just made that move, as now he's attacking Hayden, and Hayden of course on the different strategy. Is he going to make it easy? Doesn't look like it. Langman around the outside of Hayden, is he through? Hayden keeps his nose in there, doesn't make it easy for Langman. Langman forced wide, Reynolds comes to get involved. We're going to be 3 wide surely here on the run down the hill towards turn 10, and somehow Reynolds is unable to bounce. Hayden is pushed out and through. Will surely go Reynolds. Yes, he is. Reynolds is through. Just the same as Langman, and Langman survives any attack from Reynolds there. But Reynolds now has to be wary. Hayden doesn't want to give it up. He's on the inside into turn 1, but Reynolds is late enough on the brakes, and with that extra grip in his tyres, holds on. But quite the battle there, wasn't it? As now Martin will need to go negotiate these guys, and not too much of a fight there, interestingly, from Hayden as they go down towards the braking zone. And Martin is through, and now these guys who are fighting for a net P4, quite evenly matched, aren't they? As in fact, another move coming here from Reynolds. He's coming straight back at Langman, a little bit of desync on my screen, and Reynolds back up the inside of Langman. He takes the place. Langman ghosting a little bit. They're actually inside each other on my screen at the moment, and it looks like Reynolds is through on Langman. Up into P8, Langman back to P9, and Martin is gaining and gaining and gaining on this group, and it's going to become a three-way fight for P4 coming out of this race. A cracking battle. And Simon now has called for the pick, so let's pick up Simon and see where he's going to be in relation to the launches of Prize. Yep, here comes Simon. He's going to go down towards turn 1, through those surprise into the lead as you'd expect, but Simon will have the pressure soft compound tyres by 3 laps, 2.5 seconds. Can he close that gap? Remember, there is a 3-second time penalty for launches of Prize, so it won't be easy for Surprise with 3 lap older tyres to also go out and build that gap. It will be tough, so advantage Simon at the moment, isn't it, James?
Yeah, absolutely it is. I mean, what can Simon do now? He's just got to keep that pace, hasn't he? That 3-second time penalty, that's going to be playing the biggest dividends in this Grand Prix. It's almost, it's losing the words to speak here. It's kind of the devil's advocate, if you will, in this Grand Prix. It's the reason that this is not going to work for Surprise, who's now really closing up behind Drelix. He can't afford Drelix to be brake checking him anytime soon. He stays out of those super soft tyres. A good little stint there from the Toro Rosso, who lost his teammate VRT Verstappen, who's left the lead, unfortunately, who's left the tier. And Surprise now is going to move himself up past Drelix and into 3rd place. But it's a great squabble behind, with the likes of Reynolds, Langman, Martin as well, and Hayden as well. Interestingly, what he said about him, he's just let Martin through. Let's not forget those two were teammates last season, so maybe he's just having a bit of a, reminiscence, I suppose, of the days they were teammates back in the Sauber.
Very good point there, James. I actually forgot all about that. And here comes Tyrrell Martin up the inside of Langman, and by being allowed through by Hayden earlier on, it's allowed them to close on this duo of Reynolds and Langman, and Martin makes the move on Langman and he's back through, but the Ferrari ain't giving this up. Langman on the outside as they go down towards turn 4. Can he outbrake the Red Bull and steam right round the outside? Martin giving it as good as he can. He squeezes him right up towards the curb. Brilliant moving between the pair. On the inside goes Ferrari of Langman into turn 6. It would be great to try and move on the inside there. He can't come back, and Tyrrell Martin is up into P8 and up into a net P5 in this Grand Prix. Next up is ILR Reynolds with the net 4. So can Martin continue this recovery as Reynolds continues to mount up the penalties at the moment? So Martin might have a 3-second time penalty, but Reynolds has got quite a few more. So Martin already looking strong for P4. His teammate looking strong for P3. Is this the beginning of a Red Bull revival game?
Absolutely, a very, very good day in the office for the Red Bulls. It's seemingly looking like it. Well, much better than what we've seen from both of them in terms of how close they are on the circuit, because if one's had a good race, the other's had a meh, frankly. And this is maybe the best race we've seen of Tyrrell Martin this season. And that does say a lot, because Martin had so many good races last season, just become very unlucky. This season, we just haven't seen him ride up the front, really fighting, and when he is right at the front and really fighting, like he's doing, you could say now, he is a fantastic driver to watch. He's definitely won, maybe even the hunt for a podium here is Tyrrell Martin. We won't rule that one out just yet, but he was definitely confident, wasn't he, going into this week about his chances of this Austrian Grand Prix.
Keep that penalty count down, he's in for a strong result, there's absolutely no doubt about that. With Reynolds of course picking up a lot more penalties than Martin to this point, he's already going to be in that net P4, but they're going to have to worry about VSR more so, aren't they, on those soft compound tires, and LCR Leopard. They've both not been in the pitch yet, and they're going to be charging on a set of ultra softs or super softs towards the end of this Grand Prix, so we need to keep an eye on that. But let's have a look at Surprise. He's just missed by the camera there, made his move on VSR Murso, so not much time lost there. He caught him at the right part of the racetrack, and he'll be hoping that Simon, when he gets to Murso, will catch him at a bad part of the racetrack. But there's every possibility Murso will be in the pits before Simon gets to him, so it might not favour Surprise at all here. So the gap 2.1, remember, or 2.5 roughly between Surprise and Simon. 3-second time penalty for Surprise, none for Simon. So at the moment Simon would win the race on time penalties. We never like to see races decided on time penalties, but if you can't keep it clean on track, that's what will happen. And at the moment, Surprise not squeaky clean so far in this Grand Prix with penalties, and that's why he is not the favourite to win this one. And lap 19 now out of 36. Surprise up into P2. Next up Leopard. Will Simon catch Murso before he pits? That's the next big question. Let's see, is there any other battles out there on track worth noting? Oh, Holland's off.
Yeah, Holland's out the Grand Prix. Whereabouts would that have been? Yeah, was it into the final corner perhaps? Yeah, he's lost a lot of time there, hasn't he? Well, sorry, lost a lot of time. He's out the Grand Prix. He's completely, I think Overkill's might join him as well. I was just going to pick up on Leopard in the lead, 3.1 seconds ahead of Surprise. What a drive from LCR Leopard, really proving a point in that Toro Rosso, man to be feared perhaps even himself towards the end of this Grand Prix. If he can just manage these softs for another few laps, he can bolt on those set of supers and he will be flying in that final stint of this Grand Prix.
Sure, well, I just flicked back to the last car in the field to see if we could pick up the crash, and I picked up that EVR Reynolds car is way off in the runoff area at that final corner where we're watching Leopard go through now. So it's in the final corner where that car is sitting, so he's obviously had a big moment down there as Holland, so he's joined Gauche and Joe on the sidelines in this Grand Prix, and Holland now having a bit of a barren spell, hasn't he? 3 successive races without points. Okay, he did not start the race in Canada, a 14th in France, and now a no score here today with a did not finish. So not going well for him, VSR Holland, in recent weeks, but it's going really well for his teammate Murso, who could be on for a strong points finish, as Simon's now managed to find his way in front of him as Murso gets ready to bolt on a set of super soft or ultra soft. So we'll wait and see what he goes for, but I'm interested in flicking back down to Hayden. Let's have a little look. A man that loves scrapping away for every point. He's battling side by side with Melanie for that final point, or from P9 actually. And he's through up into P9. Melanie coming back. Look at this for a scrap. Snazzy evening in there as well with 2 Mercedes and the Sauber getting in there as well. And Hayden jumps out the way. Snazzy evening is going a lot quicker than him and is on 5 lap pressure tyres. Hayden, of course, hasn't been in the pits. He was in very early. If he was indeed in very early. So let's see. I don't think he has been in actually. No, he's not. Fucking rubbish. He hasn't. So Hayden, one of our few drivers to get to stop. What about Snazzy evening? Is he going to have a look at the back of Melanie? He, of course, came in early after that crash with Joe, which left Joe sidelined and dropped Snazzy right down to the field on a recovery drive. Will he be able to get those soft tyres to the end? I'm sure it'll be a mission, but it's a mission we will try and accomplish as he attacks Melanie now for that P9. So is there anything he can do about the man that's mad about melons? On the brakes down up the hill we go. Nope, no way through, and Melanie holds on. So what about this time for Snazzy? He gets a second bite of the cherry with DRS as they have a look from the halo camera. Can't see very much from it. Pretty awful if I'm honest. They break down into turn 4, and at the moment there's no way through Snazzy evening. So where else have we got a battle on track? Langman and Martin still quite close. I think this is still the best battle, so we'll stick with it. Snazzy on the move as Leopard, I think, is called for the pit. So let's see where he rejoins, and I would presume it'll be a stint on the super soft. Has Murso decided to come in? No, he's not. He'll be going a little bit longer. Let's see where Leopard rejoins as we go back on board with Snazzy Evening. Still looking at making a move on Melanie. Simon now only 1.3 behind the prize. Things looking really strong for him as Martin picks up another 3-second time penalty, not what you want. So where is Leopard going to be in relation to these guys on the pit exit? Is he ahead? Crucially, ahead of Melanie and Snazzy in their battle. Leopard comes out just in front of them as Snazzy now attacks Melanie. He's on the inside as they go up the hill into turn 3, and that should be candy for my baby. It is indeed. Through goes Snazzy Evening. He's a little bit quicker than him, but he's on double the length of stint on those tyres, those soft tyres, but he's still quicker than Melanie and is through into P9. But Leopard just in front of that. Very important to come out ahead of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. He couldn't afford to be caught in traffic there behind these guys. I mean, he all just want them to keep on fighting, just keep on squabbling. He'll be saying he doesn't want those guys to be really hassling his charge on the super soft tyres, I should note as well, which is also quite crucial in this Grand Prix. Also, let's watch more so where he will come out in relation to Leopard. It probably will be behind him, but by how much? Leopard is 6 seconds behind Langman at the moment. He's 6 seconds behind Langman. So let's just see then what he can do with 13 laps to go. He's got a fair bit of time now. He's just got to reel in that pack. How much can he close in? There's something I just want to add about Snazzy Evening, and it's this. He's got some great raw pace. I feel like some opportunities he gets, he needs to watch his racecraft a little bit, because it's not the first time this season we saw him get into contact with someone. Let's not forget France, where he also went into contact with one of the racers as well, but it's Tyrrell Martin. If there's one thing that this man can improve on, let's just see what his overall racecraft is like. Maybe a harsh comment, but it's getting used to the competitiveness of this field as well. And for someone like Snazzy Evening, let's not forget, we did have the same criticism of Leopard not too long ago, and he's starting to prove himself. So it's not to say you can't be a great driver. Leopard is definitely one of those. 5 seconds, 4 seconds now. We're just reeling into the 4-second bracket of Langman in P6.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying as Leopard. Let's see what he does. I'm just watching a little battle in the midfield at the moment. Murso recovering back up into P10 then after getting through past Bjork, I think, and past Hayden and all that after his late pit stop. Murso's actually gone to the ultra soft tyres, so let's see how he gets on. He'll be attacking Melanie and Snazzy Evening. I think there'll be easy prey for him. Who he gets beyond that, we'll have to wait and see. But let's go up to the battle of P4, which is P3, I should say, which is hotting up nicely. Reynolds against Limitless. Not much between them, and Reynolds really on the back of Limitless. I mean, with the bit of penalties Reynolds got, I don't think it'll really matter if he makes a move on JD, but what's JD to know? You might not know about the number of penalties that Reynolds has. They go through turn 7 and turn 8. Is Reynolds going to be lining up a move anytime soon as Leopard continues to cut that gap down on Langman? Martin could be under pressure here with his penalty down. I'm not sure how many Leopard's got. That might be one to note down, James, if you can.
Yep.
I don't remember seeing him having too many. But Reynolds coming across the line behind Limitless, and he made that move. Limitless up into P3, and at the moment, again, only what, 5.5 seconds off the lead. Again, you'll ask the question, if I was further up the grid, where could I have been? Again, the qualifying proving a problem, but he's going to have it Reynolds, and that will be a problem as well pretty soon for JD as they hit the braking zone at turn 3. EVR Reynolds right up behind them, although with a hat full of penalties, he is still pushing hard and attacking. Veloci Limitless. Limitless defends the inside as they run down to turn 4. The Sauber tries to go steaming round the outside. Will he have the cutback? He tries the cutback, but Limitless is wise to that, covers the line. Now, down the hill they go through turn 5 and into this blind left-hander of turn 6. Limitless still clinging on, holding on. That position is Simon now. Gets the gap to surprise to under a second. So great action there at the front. Great action for P3 as well. And pretty soon there'll be action for 5th, 6th and 7th in this Grand Prix with Leopard slicing the gap down and over 5th. And great action in the closing laps of this Grand Prix, Jim. What's the story with Leopard penalties?
Well, I've just checked Reynolds' penalties, and they're 18 seconds worth of penalties, if you're interested. Leopard doesn't have a penalty at the moment, so he's actually in good spell, but he is one warning away from gaining one. So actually just needs to keep his pace up, keep the consistency, and he'll be okay in this Grand Prix. 18 seconds worth of penalties for Reynolds is quite appalling. That's half the circuit, for goodness sake. That's so many penalties that he's managed to accumulate over the course of this Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, not good at all for Reynolds. I mean, it's all good having great pace and showing it in qualifying, but if you can't do it in the race and pick up so many penalties, then what's the point of turning up? And Reynolds needs to improve on the penalty count. He might be attacking Limitless, but it's all in vain really when you consider the penalties. Simon now only 7 tenths behind Surprise, showing that he really does have fantastic race pace at the moment. And I would actually say, James, I mean, it's a controversial one. I'm always interested to hear what people think that are watching. Who do you think is the quicker outright driver on pace at the moment? Is it Surprise or is it Simon? What would you say?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, from races that have gone by, I mean, the man who's won usually you would suggest has the better pace because they've managed to maintain it. It's a weird one because as much as Simon I think is very, very consistent, I think Surprise has that edge when it's starting Grand Prix. He just has that edge, if you get me. He just, at the start, he just seems to nail it, and then he's just always the time seemingly dropping away. He's starting to come back in his favour. It's a very, very weird one. It's almost difficult, too difficult in my eyes, to put your finger on, to really nail who is the better or the faster driver. It's a very difficult one to tell. We haven't really seen Limitless in full vein at the front against those guys, but he can actually stick with the pace of those guys as well, because we don't know that for certain either. So there's plenty of variables, and all we want is the British Grand Prix next time round, and what we want in that is the top 3 maybe to be, well, maybe not the top 3 to be as they are now, but to see the top 3. What's happened? Reynolds is out.
Into the wall. Yep, he's in a big oversteer moment going through turn 9. I was riding on board with him and down into the wall. I think the penalties got him frustrated. He lost the rear end and he's gone smashing off into the tyre wall at the final corner, and Reynolds is out. So that's one less car. A few guys to negotiate. Limitless, I don't think he'll be dealing with that anymore. But let's go to Surprise and Simon. Look at this, 4 tenths between them. We could have a real race in our eyes between these two, although Surprise does have a 3-second time penalty, Simon does not. I'm interested to know, Dean, how far away is Simon from a penalty? It can't be far. We know Simon's always usually picking one up at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing you want to just pick up on, though, is how hard will they fight this? Because will they know about the penalty scenario? I mean, I'm assuming they probably won't. And there's Simon weaving behind his championship rival. He's only 4 tenths of a second behind Surprise at the moment, and Simon seemingly actually on very good, well, oh, Limitless gets himself a penalty, but as I say, Simon isn't actually that bad on the penalty front. He's only got 1 warning this entire Grand Prix, so he's had a stellar drive, really, a really smooth and consistent drive from the McLaren once again. He's in the 2nd DRS zone, or 1st DRS zone, whatever way you want to look at it, towards turn 3. He's not going to get a move done just yet on the brakes, but look how much he closes that gap between Surprise and Simon. It's huge, the difference he has on that left foot, and how really close in towards turn 4, I wonder.
Yeah, he's getting closer and closer, but not as close as Martin and Langman, rubbing wheels side by side there. And look at Leopard, he's on them already. I can't believe this. Leopard, look at the toe he's got. In between Martin and Langman, he waits between the pair of them. Is he through? And they reach the brake pedal. Not quite. Langman forces Leopard out, but Leopard has got way too much grip for Martin. Martin slews back down into 6th position. Nothing he can do. Leopard between the pair of them there nearly made a fantastic move. So he's ahead of Martin already. Langman should be easy meat as well, or else Leopard in a moment will go back to the battle for the lead. But Leopard is charging here. Look at the pace he's got, right up in the back of Langman as they go through turns 9 and 10. Can he make that move as they reach the final corner? Doesn't look like it. Simon's captain Surprise, 4 tenths. We'll stick with this for the moment. Across the line they will go. Leopard's gaining and gaining and gaining. Not quite gaining enough. Make a move on Langman. Will the penalty that Limitless has now come to hurt him, because Leopard is flying here past Langman already. Can he make up the time he needs to get any closer as we go back to Simon on Surprise? 2 tenths between them, and it's very, very close. So Leopard through on Langman, 7.8 to Limitless. It's really only 4.8 if you consider the 3-second time penalty. But look at Simon, he's pushing Surprise through turn 6. And this is going to be a fantastic battle to the flag. Oh, as a neutral, how much I wish this was equal on penalties. Oh, I wish. But these drivers, they'll still fight it. Surprise knows Simon pick up a penalty at any moment. That's why he'll fight it. Lap 31 out of 36 about to begin here in round 9 of the Inside Line Racing League season. It's Surprise versus Simon, the two heavyweights, the two fastest drivers in the tier on race trim and qualifying trim. Who will have the upper hand? Surprise leads them going up the hill, through the kink of turn 2 and up towards turn 3. Is there any way he can make a move? It doesn't look like it on this occasion. Simon, the German driver, tucked right up behind the Welshman and still can't make a move. It's Palocci versus VSR. It's McLaren versus Williams. It's the German versus the Welshman. Who's coming out on top on this titanic battle? In terms of time penalties, it's Simon, but on track is where the talking is done. Who will come out on top? Will it be Simon? Will it be Surprise? Simon, 3-lap pressure tyres over Velocity Surprise. He started this race on the Super Soft. Surprise started on the Ultra Soft. That's why he's got pressure tyres. He went deeper into this Grand Prix. Langman, 1 second behind Leopard now. Can Leopard gain on Limitless? That's the other big question as the race reaches its climax. Lap 32 now about to begin. Surprise squirming his way out of that final corner, and for the moment, James, clinging on well. And Simon, about the penalty, Simon's going to win it.
Absolutely, he is. But Simon, it's just, when can he get this move done? And I'm also just thinking about, and I said earlier, if these guys don't know about the penalty situation, this could end in a plane crash. These two have had so many battles over the past few races that this could really end in tears if they don't know what the penalty scenario is like. Simon doesn't need to go for it. He may go for it though, and that's what's the big thing here. It's not a psychological approach. Here comes Martin on the outside of Langman. In towards turn 4 they go. The Red Bull round the outside of the Ferrari into turn 4. Gets the move done on Langman, and a great move as well from Martin. Moves himself into P5. That's the Martin that we know. That's the Martin that we've seen in the past.
Martin we know, the Martin we love. He's up into P5. Langman back down to P6. It's Red Bull 3rd, Toro Rosso 4th, Red Bull 5th. So in the home circuit, I think they're not too shabby job. They might not be contesting the top 2 places, but they really are filling out the podium at the moment. Leopard looks like it's just too much of a task for him to stop Limitless picking up that P3, doesn't it, James? I don't think you can do it, but it's still been a great drive. Remember, folks, if you're watching, feel free to let us know who your driver of the day is. We're always interested to hear your opinions, as Snazzy Evening, I think, has been involved in another incident somewhere. He's off the track, keeping the gravel trap down at turn 7. He gets it back going again, turn 6, sorry, and on his way he goes. So a forgettable afternoon once again for Snazzy Evening. We're now got another yellow out there. Why is that? I think that's up to you. I think it's the same thing. So what about Alex and George? They're quite close. In fact, no, let's go back to the leaders. Let's see if there's any move being made by Simon on this occasion. Doesn't look like it. Still tucked up behind them, so I'll go back to Dralix. Why not? Because they're in a position of the track where a move might be made. So Dralix fighting with George. Try and double his points tally for this race from 1 to 2 points as they fight over the minor points positions.
Absolutely they are, and it's saying as they are, but Simon and Surprise, I just want to pick on that really quickly, is just how Surprise is going to gain traffic soon, but that traffic may allow him to get DRS and will allow him to get DRS perhaps, and that could make or break, you know, in terms of track position, who will win this Grand Prix. Joyce isn't seemingly close enough to draw to be able to get a move done just yet. The Canadian has had some rotten bit of luck recently, I don't believe scored a point for a little while, so it's been a while since he's seen the Stralex, but he'll be hoping that if he can get past Jork, it'll be a very good result for the Toro Rosso driver.
Watching the fight agonisingly, they're getting really close to the back of Overkill, but unable as he approached them to get DRS. So Simon still tucked right up behind them on lap 34 and 36. I get the impression that Simon knows about this penalty for Surprise and has just decided to sit behind him and just wait it out to the finish and pick up the victory, because he knows about this penalty. Simon's known in the past, remember back in France when he picked up the 3-second time penalty, he was wanting to just sit behind Surprise. Well, can he sit behind him this time and not pick up a penalty? He did it last time. Can he do it though? I mean, I don't know how many warnings he's got now, but he had one earlier on, 2 away from the penalty. I wonder how close he is now. DRS open for Simon. That will be cancelled out, I think, by Surprise. Not into turn 1 it isn't, but perhaps by the time we go through turn 3 and 4 for the second DRS zone it will be, because Surprise is getting a lot closer to that Renault in front. Oh, sorry, the third DRS zone I should say, because the DRS is open of course as they climb the hill. Simon unable to make a move on Surprise. Is Surprise now getting the DRS benefit? Let's see. Nope, still not getting it. So unable to close quickly enough on Overkill, and Simon will stay tucked up behind him on this penultimate lap. Dralix and George swapping places further down. I'm not watching it, but Prix has gone Dralix. Let's have a look at Mercer though. Let's do that.
Down the inside of Langman, he's got the move done on him into turn 4. What a great move that was from the house. Watched it all the way through. A great little run then for him, and Langman will try and get him back again in towards turn 4. He's down the inside of the house. He's locking his wheels as the Ferrari. He's banging into the side of the house car. They're wheel to wheel through turn 4, and Langman is on the outside. It's had a very chaotic afternoon as the Ferrari, who stays ahead of the house, or does he? Because the house is up the inside into turn 6 on that left-hand corner. He's got the inside line. He's got the better line. And the Haas does find himself into P6. Oh, Langman's gone.
He's round. Langman's gone. He's put it in the kitty litter, lit up the rear tyres, and gone for a spin. I went on board with him there, and I think the tyre temperature's got that little bit too high. And now he's into gravel, and round he goes. But I think Langman was trying to let him through into turn 6. Oh, he's got a puncture. That's why. He's got a left rear puncture, James. So there you go. Langman, left rear puncture. Has he taken those tyres a little bit too long? How many laps has he done on them? 24. So Surprise has done 24 on his. Martin's done 23. So are they close to the limit, these guys, on tyre life?
He's approaching the same start pace part of the circuit as Langman did. So you would hope, you would really hope, and Surprise will be hoping he doesn't get a penalty in these last couple of corners. He's coming round now though to take another win in this ILR season. What a tremendous performance it's been from Veloce Surprise, but he's not going to win, is he? Because Simon is not going to have as many penalties, so he's not going to have a penalty at all. Surprise finishes in first, but not for long, because Simon has won the Austrian Grand Prix in spectacular fashion at the end there. It got close, didn't it? But not close enough for him. He finishes and wins the Austrian Grand Prix ahead of Surprise. Limitless comes home a fine P3 once again for Red Bull. 4th for Leopard, and a tremendous drive from the Toro Rosso. 5th for Tyrrell Martin, and also would be 6th for Tyrrell Martin. Also comes around to finish in P5. Another great effort from the house, who was from nowhere really in that Grand Prix. Comes home to finish 5th, ahead of Melanie in P7. Jork will come round to finish in P8. Trailix in P9 and getting some points on the board once again for the Toro Rosso team. Mike Marshmallow actually gets ahead of him by 0.04 of a second because of penalties, and only 0.3 Mike was behind Jork, and he's got under the radar, Mike Marshmallow, but when he wants that smooth, consistent pace, you can always rely on him. Hayden spins his way across the line in P11, and that will be the Austrian Grand Prix. A great little race we had there, Andy.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. It was a cracker. Lots of action, lots of intrigue from start to finish. We didn't quite get the battle at the end between Surprise and Simon, but I think Simon knew he had to just shut up shop and make sure he brought it home without picking up any time penalties, and that's exactly what he did. There he is, VSR Simon, on the top step of the podium. He has managed to come out on top here today in Austria. Fantastic performance from the McLaren driver. His 2nd win of the season, or 3rd win, I'm not too sure, I'll need to count back on that one. But Veloce Surprise joins him in the podium, 2nd place for him. He extends his championship lead, with Joe failing to finish after a crash earlier on, and a fantastic P3 for Veloce Limitless, who's picked up since the French Grand Prix after the eSports series. He's got himself knuckled down and doing a good job there. A 2nd successive podium finish for him. So LCR Leopard P4, a fantastic drive for him. A big shout out perhaps for him for driver of the day. Maybe Simon could deserve a shout coming from P3 on the grid as well. We'll discuss that later. VSR Morso, great drive to P5. I'm hearing an incredible echo, by the way. Martin 6th, 7th for Melanie, 8th for Jock, 9th for Mike Marshmallow, and the Canadian Dralix got home in P10. Hayden outside the points, P11, 12th for Snazzy Evening, 13's Overkill. Langman with that late puncture didn't finish. Neither did Reynolds, neither did Holland, neither did Ghosh, and neither did OMG Joe with that early crash with Snazzy Evening. So that rounds up the Austrian Grand Prix. It's time for the podium interviews, and James, I believe you've got VSR Simon with you.
Absolutely right, we do. May as well crack on with it, Simon. Well done for the victory once again here today. I mean, it didn't look overly easy, it has to be said. It wasn't an easy Grand Prix, it looked like. Just how was the tyre degradation in that race? Because I mean, for you, must have been a little bit easier for Surprise, for example. Did you know about the penalty for Surprise as well?
I did. Yeah, I asked
Oh,
Jeff if he has any. I didn't ask directly, but he says when he asked for driver behind information, and he said penalty 3.0. So I knew basically I just have to keep my cool and stay behind. I mean, it's basically the exact same situation as it was last week in France, where I had one less penalty and I bottled it, and I said to myself, "This ain't gonna happen again. Like, no way." And the tire situation, yes, I managed to stay in third, I believe, or even second on the super soft, so I could go in a lot later than them, and then surprise first and foremost. So yeah, and then towards the end, I felt I had a lot more pace simply due to the tires, but I didn't wanna go past or anything. I knew the gap to JD was staying the same or even extending. So I had no real reason to push any further, even though I could have, but I just didn't.
yeah, absolutely. As a neutral, the thing I really want to see is you two on this, well, maybe not even have any penalties, or maybe the same number of penalties and going wheel to wheel. Is there something there which you feel would just be a little bit more tension between you two in terms of a fight on circuit in that scenario? Because these last two races, like you say, they've been a bit iffy in the senses of the penalty situation. So would you like to see you two really fighting it out for a Grand Prix win and not with the difference in penalties, for example?
It usually happens when we practice. Um, so I see that quite a lot, but I mean, it would be great if that happened in an actual Grand Prix in ILR. Hasn't happened till now, but I'm sure there will be tracks where, let's say, penalties aren't that much of an issue. Um, and you can basically expect that no one gets any. And I'm sure that these battles will happen on these sort of tracks where penalties, as I said, are not really an issue.
And of course, we're heading into the British Grand Prix next time around. I mean, it's always a great circuit. I'm going to say that as a patriotic person of Britain. What's our thoughts going into the British Grand Prix, the Silverstone circuit? What are you thinking going into that one? Is it a good circuit for you? Is it a circuit you enjoy? What are we looking for there?
Um, it's a circuit that is very strong for JD. I know that. Very strong for Josh. Myself, I don't know. I don't know if I can hang, but I will definitely try my best and practice a lot over the week. I like the track actually. I think it's great. Penalties are a bit of an issue. Maggots and backets and stuff. You can cut a bit and gain a bit of time and therefore get warnings. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I know it's a boring prediction, but that's all I got.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations on the win again. Surprise we're going to you. I mean, obviously not the race you would have wanted in terms of the penalties that you accumulated over the course of that race, but qualifying was. I mean, I think the race itself was kind of. There's a lot of conversation going into it about the ballast and stuff like that. I won't go too much into that because I don't want to give anything away, if you know. But I mean, qualifying it did seem it was in the wet. So did you feel that your setup was best suited for that kind of scenario in the wet conditions?
Well, I actually did it more for the race. In practice, all throughout the week, I was using 9 ballast, and then when I seen when I seen it was Inter's quali, I decided to run 8 because 8 isn't
Lol.
too bad in the race either. So I thought I may as well just go for a little bit of sacrifice in quali for the race, and I still managed to get pole, which was good. But then going into the race, I did plan to start on super softs, but basically, I put the super soft to soft strategy on the bottom. You get like 2 strategy options. I put the super soft to soft strategy at the bottom, and I put the ultra soft to soft at the top. And I seen I don't know which one was quicker, but I definitely meant to go on the super soft one, but I didn't click A on it, so I started on ultra softs. So I thought that was race over, but then I seen Joe was also on ultra softs. And that gave me a little bit of hope that maybe he could hold up Simon enough so I could pull away. But Simon kept up with me. Oh, he was matching my pace on the super softs. And I thought, well, come the end of the race, he's just gonna blast past me. But I figured he knew about my penalty because you could tell on the straight he didn't want to overtake me at all. He wasn't really gaining much. So yeah, at that point I knew it was pretty much over. All he had to do was not get a penalty and keep it clean, and that's what he did. So GG on the win for him, and JD on the podium as well.
Yeah, absolutely right. And of course, the closest driver to you in the championship was Joe going into this Grand Prix, believe it or not. And he had a bit of an incident today. May have seen or heard potentially, who knows? He had an incident today. So, I mean, I don't want to throw Joe completely out the equation just yet, but with you guys seemingly just racking up these podiums, so consistent, you three on the podium, is it something now that we're maybe looking away from Joe and starting to merge with Simon and Limpless as potential rivals in this championship now? I hate to sound cruel like that, but it's, you know, fine margins.
I think I did say like maybe 3 races ago. I don't know what track it was, but I did say I think I said Simon would definitely overtake Joe in the championship, and I think it's just, no offense to Joe, he's a great driver, and we've seen now at the start of the season managing to keep second place, taking 2 wins. But I feel coming into the next few races and then the end of the season, I think it'll just be me, Simon, and JD. If JD gets a good qualifying, I think it'll just be us 3 fighting at the front every race. And depending on whether Joe can up the race pace as well. It seemed decent today, but I don't know what happened. I think he had an incident.
It was a big crash. But yeah, congratulations on your second place. I don't know why you're laughing, Simon. I would never know why. Anyway, we move on to JD, who finishes third today. Pull yourself together, man. Come on. JD in third place today. Once again, finishing on the roster, but it was qualifying that let you down once again, JD.
Yeah, no, it's just, it just seems to be the case. I just need to get a good qualifying. I think if I could get a good qualifying, I can challenge for the win. But yeah, in intermediates, I actually did quite a bit of practice in intermediates, and yeah, the lap felt good, but everyone else just went that little bit quicker. And yeah, at the end of the session, I couldn't improve my lap because it started heavy rain, and yeah, starting P6 is not really what you want to be if you want to try and win the race. So.
I suppose so. And you had close quarters with Reynolds in that Grand Prix as well. Was a little bit your heart fluttering a little bit when you saw him diving down the inside, perhaps giving you a little bit of battle? Let's not forget Spain.
Yeah, basically the start of my race was at the start. I actually lost the position as well. I think went back to like 8th or something at the start, and then just lost so much time in the first stint. And then I had a front row seat of Joe and Snazzy crashing into each other. That'd be my highlights. That was a pretty bad crash. So luckily, like, maybe to get past 2 more cars, and then I think I overtook Reynolds, and then and then Reynolds, after we pitted, I think he had that 2-lap older tyres than me, and I was just trying my best to try and catch, because I think Surprise was on 2-lap older tyres than me. I knew Simon would be the quickest out of us 3 at the end. I was just really hoping that they would start battling, and then I could just try and catch up at the end. But Reynolds, I think Martin told me, my engineer, that he had that 15 seconds worth of penalties while he was behind me. So yeah, he was trying pretty hard. But yeah, he went for a move, and then I was just really hoping we weren't battling, because the gap was coming down a little bit to Simon and Surprise, and then kind of just maintaining the whole time. I didn't have any warnings or anything until that lap 28 in the race or something. So again, if they had 6 seconds worth of penalties, I think I would have been inside that. So, but then I don't know what happened to Reynolds. I think he lost the car. I think last corner, I think he might turn too early or something and destroyed his car or something, and then that alleviated a bit of pressure. But yeah, I just need to do better in qualifying. If I could do better in qualifying, then I really want to win a race. So yeah, that's what I need to do, and hopefully Silverstone, my best track coming up next. So should be a good one for me, hopefully.
All the questions I was about to give you, but once again, congratulations for finishing third in this Grand Prix. Andy, have you got anything more to add?
Not
no.
really. Did you say me there? What did you say?
Yeah, Andy. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Apologies.
Yeah, Not much else to add. Yeah, fantastic race. I enjoyed it today. A little mixture in the strategy with the difference in tyre compounds made it quite interesting. But yeah, again, great drive from Simon. Looked like he had a little pace advantage. Of course, surprise, he's got a good point well made. If he was on similar tyres, it would have been even closer between the pair. But of course, Simon, great job on the win again. JD again just failing on that qualifying front to get where he needs to be to challenge. But Silverstone being his best track, I think we're in for a cracking race at Silverstone next week. If he can get on pace with Simon and Surprise, I think we're in for a cracker. Yeah, but so I enjoyed the Austrian Grand Prix. A bad day for Joe. I think the championship's looking pretty strong now for Surprise. I think we can even stop talking about the championship, really. I think the damage that Simon sustained at the start of the season is going to really make it almost impossible for him to catch Surprise given his consistency. So I just hope for the remainder of the season we have got exciting races, and I think that's something that we're guaranteed to have with these three at the front. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And yep, it's time to move on to the British Grand Prix, which of course, if you want to join us next week, same time on Friday night, 7:30 for that one, can Veloci Limitless finally get the qualifying right and take it to Simon and Surprise in the race? We'll find out next week. That's all from me, that's all from James, that's all from the three guys on the podium. Good night.